Hey guys, I haven't made a video for a couple of days, so I thought maybe today might be a day to upload something. And I had a question on one of my other videos about um, information I could share about pallets, buying pallets. And I can't tell you, I thought I'd go over some of the things that I know. I can't tell you everything about it because I don't know everything about it. And I have never bought a pallet that was shipped like to my location. I have always gone to places where I could hand pick the pallet. So I'm going to give you some tips about that and some things to consider about that. And, um, how you might be able to find a place like that in your area. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. If I can fix this computer, this camera. I just feel low. I get low. I get low, get low, get low. So let me see what I can do here. And let me just say that I have a lot of work that needs to be done. I cleaned out my daughter's basement of all the yard sale stuff that just didn't get yard saled, and now my storage unit is just chocked full. I have tons of stuff here that needs to go to the storage unit. So I think tomorrow I'm going to kind of go through what's in the storage unit and try to get rid of some of this stuff. And I still have some listing to do. Sales have been low. I haven't made a lot of sales. I've been listing, but sales are just off right now. And there's not really anything to do about that. So, anyway, I digress. Let's not talk about it. Let's talk about pallets. So, what I recommend, first of all, let's talk about what pallets are. A pallet of merchandise is usually just that, a wooden pallet with merchandise stacked up on it that is usually stretch wrapped. And, or it can be a Gaylord box, and a Gaylord box is, but I guess the best way to explain one so you have a point of reference. It's one of those big cardboard boxes that you might see in your supermarket that have watermelons in it, like those big boxes that are probably, armpit or a little shorter, and they're the big square box. They are also sold at pallet sales, full of merchandise, usually full of loose, smaller merchandise, or like I've seen them full of vacuum cleaners that have been returned or whatever. So those are usually your two methods of what a pallet is: a Gaylord box full, or a wood pallet that's been stacked up with merchandise and stretch wrapped. So you can kind of see what's on the outside of the pallet. These come from typically store returns. If you've ever bought anything at a retail store, most retail stores have some type of retail return policy. And a lot of goods get returned. America is a returning kind of place. We get our goods so cheaply and so often that we return them. We also we are impulse shoppers. We're impulse shoppers, and we'll buy goods that we really don't want, and then we'll return those. And there's other reasons to return as well. Item doesn't work. Item isn't the right product for you. It's not the right color. It's not the right size. Whatever. There's a million reasons to return. But because of that policy in the store, they end up with a lot of goods that they can't just put out on the floor and resell. And so those get sold to wholesalers that will then liquidate that product. There are also shelf pulls. Sometimes seasonal items just get pulled off the shelf, those ones that don't sell for the markdown price. There are also shelf pulls for other reasons. We're not going to carry this product anymore, so we're going to pull it from all of our 100 locations, and we'll just sell it to a liquidator. So there are a lot of reasons for shelf pulls. Anyway, those are typically the two categories of products that you will come across: shelf pulls or damage or returns. And the way to find a place that will sell you that, you can go online. There are online sites where you can either buy a pallet um, or bid on a pallet and get it through an auction. Typically, you will need to have some type of reseller or vendor certificate for your state to be able to do that. But there are also other places, and those are the places that I tend to shop. And the way to find these places is not as hard as you think. It's just that you haven't thought to look for them before. So I did a couple of these searches this morning just to prove that you could do it, and I have not searched these before. One is on Craigslist. Go on Craigslist. Don't choose any particular category. Just look in all for sale and put in pallet wholesale or pallets. If you just put in pallets, you'll get listings for just wood pallets, but you also may find a wholesaler in your area. These are guys that typically buy these pallets by the truckload, and then they will sell them to you individually at a marked up price. And that's the way I have bought them before, is from someone that will buy a truckload or truckloads of pallets, and they will then mark them according to, for example, the place that I buy marks the price according to the retailer. So a lot of the pallets are Walmart, Target, Amazon, Kohl's. There are probably others, but those are the four big ones that I have seen. I expect to kind of see in the future pallets from Target, not Target, Kmart, because a lot of those Kmarts are closing. I know that Gander Mountain, which is a sporting goods store here, some of their stores are closing, so I would expect in the future to see some of that merchandise end up at those wholesalers. But so that's one way you can find it. You can look online for pallet auctions. There are local pallet auctions, and there are a couple in this area, so you can do that. Facebook. Type into the Facebook search pallet wholesale merchandise, and see what pops up, because typically with Facebook it will look by location, so you'll get the closest one first. And then also, if you didn't know this, and honestly I didn't know it until I started doing some research this morning, you can buy pallets on eBay. And there's of course freight shipping that you need to consider, but yes, you can buy pallets on eBay. So before those are the methods to find some ways to buy. And I prefer to buy locally. I actually don't buy locally. I have to drive 3 hours, but it's local for my sister. So, and we usually sell the goods near her. So, but anyway, so it's a local business. And before you go, I would recommend just looking to see if you can find any reviews, maybe on Google, or check the Better Business Bureau and see if you can find any information about those that particular seller. If you can't, it doesn't hurt to go and look, but it might be a good idea just to look and see if there's some negative vibes out there for that particular seller. But then go and look. Be surprised, or be prepared to look through rows and rows and rows of pallets until they all start looking alike. The method that I have used to choose a pallet is I walk down every row. I typically will avoid Walmart pallets most of the time because they're your lower end, not always, but they can be your lower end, like home appliances, a lot of Rival appliances, which are lower end, or Hamilton Beach. They tend to, Walmart is a cheaper retailer, so the products that you're going to buy from them most of the time are going to be those cheaper end products in the pallet. So I kind of don't consider those initially. Now, if I'm having trouble finding something, I may go back and buy a Walmart pallet. I may just skip it and not buy anything at all. But when you are looking at these pallets, you need to be considering where you're going to sell them. If you're going to look to eBay to sell items, then be prepared to do some research on the spot. So I walk up to this stretch wrapped pallet, remembering I can only see what's on the outside. It is usually tucked in between other pallets, so I can kind of only see what's on the front and what's on the sides. And sometimes I will have them pull the pallet out so I can kind of look all the way around. But I will look at some of the bigger items in that pallet and look to see what I can sell those for on eBay. I would suggest that you always keep in mind that there could be varying degrees of merchandise on the pallet. Some could be new in box, some could be used, and I've seen this a lot. For some reason, coffee pots. People will take a coffee pot home, they'll take it all out of the box, they'll use it once, they'll put it back in the box, and they'll take it back. So they could be just used, in good condition but used. They could be damaged. They could be expired if there's any type of food product in there. And there could be excess, what I call no-sale items. Right now, I have a case of index cards that I've had since December. Because what am I going to do with those? They're 200 index cards. They're going to be heavy, so they're not going to be cheap to ship. They're not going to be probably desirable until school starts. So it's kind of a no-sell item. So you're going to have some of those. You're going to have some seasonal goods in some pallets. It's May. It might be time to start thinking about buying a Halloween pallet, but let me tell you, November last year was not a good time for me to start thinking about that because you have to store that stuff. So just keep in mind that those could be the scenarios. And let's say you're able to stay away from the seasonal goods. A lot of times what I find in some of the pallets is a lot of it's broken. It's just broken. It may not have been broken by the customer, but it got broken in the warehouse, in packing it onto the pallet, in shipping it on the pallet, and it's gotten broken. So be cognizant of that. Once you've decided that this is the pallet that I am going to buy, and the pallets that I have found at the particular place where I go start at about $99 for a Gaylord full of Walmart merchandise that you can make your money back on. It's just going to take longer because these are lower dollar sellers. Might be good for flea market. Up to about $700 for probably a 7 or 8 feet tall Amazon pallet, which is going to have a huge variety of goods. It's going to have stuff on it you don't even know what it is because Walmart has millions and millions and millions of products. But so that's kind of the price range, and you can kind of float anywhere in between there. Target pallets are about $350 to $400 in my experience. In your part of the country, it may be more or less, but that's what I've experienced. So now that you've decided to buy a pallet, I hope you have considered how are you going to get this pallet from this location to your home. Some of the ways that we have done it is they will load it for you. They'll pick it up with a forklift and load it for you. So we have gotten 2 on the back of a full-size pickup. If you take the pallet and you turn it sideways and you slip it on there, you'll have a little overhang that you can strap down. But I have been able to get 2 pallets on the back of a full-size pickup. Sometimes we take a trailer, have them loaded on the trailer, and strap that down. There have been occasions where a pallet, we don't have the truck, we don't have the trailer, we have to use the cargo van, and you can break down a pallet and fit it on the cargo van. It's a little bit like Jenga, but you can do it. And then usually the pallet place will let you throw away all of the stretch wrap and the pallet there. They will also, if you're buying a Gaylord full of stuff, if you're going to buy a Gaylord full of stuff and you are not hauling that Gaylord away, you might want to bring some tubs with you, because a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times it will be loose, just loose stuff, and you might want to put it in tubs. But anyway, they will let you break down the Gaylord and put it in their dumpster. In most places, just check with them. But so you need to consider hauling it, because, you know, my sister has the truck and the van and all that. I have a Jetta. I'm not buying a pallet in my Jetta. It just won't work. I mean, I just have to make so many trips. So, and some of the stuff probably wouldn't fit anyway. But anyway, so you got to consider how you're going to haul it or ship it or whatever, whether that be you're going to rent a U-Haul or whatever. But you need to consider that. Now that's another expense that you need to factor in to the cost of the pallet. So once you have this pallet, where are you going to store it? Especially if you live in an apartment or a small house. Where are you going to store this product while you're prepping it for sale? Because with these items, you can never assume that the product is brand new in the box, unless it is factory sealed, and I mean glued shut. Then you might be able to consider it new in the box. But most of the time they have been opened and retaped. So you need to be checking each of these items, unless you are selling stuff as is, and I recommend that you don't, because you will look at a box and it will look fine, and you open it and half the components are missing. You know, and you just don't want to have that reputation of, you know, I bought junk from them. Anyway, so you're going to have to go through, and if you bought a lot of electrical or electronic items, you're going to have to test them. If you bought other items, you're going to have to make sure all of the components are there. So we bought a lot of baby items, and we had to go through and make sure all of the parts were there for the walker, the bouncer, the sleeper thing, the whatever. So, you know, you're going to have to spend a lot of time doing that. Also, I recommend that you have multiple outlets for this product. I recommend that if you have an eBay store or an eBay account that you're going to sell some of this stuff, that you also have some kind of arrangement with a flea market, so that maybe you can sell some stuff there. Are you going to have a yard sale to get rid of some of the items? I know that there are some places that rent warehouse space, and they'll buy multiple pallets, go through it, and then they sell it there as new and used. So how are you going to get rid of it? Just some things to consider. I personally would not invest all of my energy in pallets, because with pallet sales, typically you are lucky to triple your money. Like, that is best case scenario, you triple your money. And worst case scenario, you lose money. I mean, and I have lost money on pallets. I do much better with for example, with thrift store items and selling on eBay. So this I bought for $6.99. I sold it for $35. Yes, there are fees associated with that, sure, but I've more than tripled my money. And you know, there was very little testing that went along with the product like that. So I prefer eBay. Now, that being said, I have sold some pallet items on eBay this weekend that my sister did not want to or could not sell in the flea market. and they were e-cig cartridges. So I have sold a bunch of those this weekend, but that is, and I'm not exactly sure how much is it, we have invested in them because they came as part of a bigger pallet, and it's really hard to break it down to one little thing when I don't know what was in the rest of the pallet. Because quite frankly, sometimes I say, okay, take my money, invest in a pallet, and I don't even see it. So, but I just think that pallets can be a segment of your sales. I think that it's good to get in there. Actually, we bought pallets and kept a few things here and there out to that saved us money in the sense that we needed to purchase that item, and because it came as part of this pallet, we're going to get it for much less than buying it new. And we've also been able to, because there's been a lot of babies coming lately. My sister and I, when we've bought baby pallets, have said, okay, instead of us spending all of this money on a gift for so-and-so, let's give them this pack and play or whatever out of the pallet. So, it saved us money in that regard too. But I think if you are going to sell pallets or buy pallets for resale, you just need to consider that there are lower margins. Yes, it is a lot more product at one time. And you're not going out and shopping every day, but I enjoy the shopping every day or every other day or whatever I get to do. But anyway, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about buying pallets. Buy local if you can, even if you have to drive an hour or two. It is worth it to buy it locally, to lay your eyes on what you're buying, to build a relationship with the people that you're buying from, because a lot of these places are smaller operations. Like, it's the owner and two people that are, well, there's probably more than that, but because there's the guys moving the stuff around with the forklifts and stuff. But usually it's like one or two people in the front, and it's a really small operation, and you get to build a relationship with them. And they do offer, like the one that I buy from, they send an email once a month or once every couple of weeks, and you have the ability to buy a half a truckload. Now, it's costly and it's risky, but they do make offers like that. So anyway, that's what I know about buying pallets in a nutshell. I hope it helps you at least start to think about all of the things that you need to consider. You think about, maybe not putting all your eggs in one basket. I would say if you're trying to get in reselling and you're looking to resell on eBay and you've got $700 to spend, I wouldn't buy a $700 pallet. I would definitely look at spending, $400 at your local thrift stores, and maybe buying a $300 pallet and starting that way, because these pallets can really be hit or miss. Most of the time I have at least doubled my money. There have been a few times where I've lost. I have never hit triple. Never hit triple on a pallet. So anyway, that's what I know in a nutshell, and I just thought I'd share that with you because I know that the stuff that I've mentioned before, it is something that has folks have expressed interest in, and that's all I know. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to try and work through this chaos in this room. It's always chaos in this room, isn't it? At least I'm consistent. But and then tomorrow's Memorial Day, so happy Memorial Day, and I will show you the few things that I've sold. I am running a sale right now, so I'm hoping to pick up a few more sales through tomorrow evening. But I'll show you what I sold, and I don't know what we'll talk about, but hopefully it'll be something good. Something that'll not be this rambling crap that I'm doing right now. So that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Just remember, the dream works when you do. So keep dreaming and keep working, and I'll see you the next time.